Okay, we're going to make a start. So Robert, hand over to you.
Okay, thanks Simone, and hi everyone, and thanks for coming today. My name's Robert Yen, and I've left my email address there in case you need to contact me about anything. As Simone said, please type in any questions you have during this webinar in the chat, and we'll try to get to you, but we do appreciate there may be lots of questions coming in. I've also got at the bottom of the screen there the Nelson Secondary website and the page where you can go to find out more about the Nelson Maths Workbooks. The other thing too is that we are making a recording of this webinar. So we will make this recording available to you next week, as well as the PowerPoint. Okay, so let's begin. Okay, so introducing Nelson Maths Workbooks for years 7 to 10. It's a new series of 200-page write-in books of worksheets, puzzles, and homework assignments, and it's written for the Australian curriculum. Now, even though it's for years 7 to 10, we have decided to name these books 1 to 4. If you use our developmental math series, we also label those books 1 to 4 because we like to think of years 7 to 10 as a continuum. And you could have for example, a year 8 student working on book 3 on the year 9 book, but you might have another year 8 student working on book 1, the year 7 student. So we didn't want that stigma attached, so that they could just see that they were progressing through the books. When we get to books 3 and 4, or years 9 and 10, we do have an advanced version or an advanced pathway where we include more extension work and less revision. As you see there, these books are being published very soon. The first one will be the book 3 in September. So books 1, 2 and 3 will be published by the end of this year, and then book 4 for year 10 will be published March, April next year. And the price will be $15.95 or $32.95 if your school also purchases Go Grammar workbooks. So as I said before, that's the books 1, 2, 3 and 4 translates to 7, 8, 9, 10. But also this series takes a holistic approach to the curriculum. So for example, book 3 will include some work from year 8 and year 10 as well. So while we do follow the Australian curriculum, we don't follow it strictly. We do have a bit of flexibility. We do teach to a program that includes a lot of revision and some extension. Okay, so again with the advanced pathway, they occasionally contain more advanced or challenging worksheets and less practice and revision. Okay, so just as an example, the first book to come out is Workbook 3. So just to let you know exactly how many of each thing there are, there's 38 worksheets, 16 puzzle sheets, and 40 homework assignments. And why 40? It's for every week of the school year. So you could give out an assignment on a Monday and collect it for marking on a Friday. Okay, so here is the table of contents from Nelson Maths Workbook 3. So this is like the year 9 book. So you can see it's the kind of topics that you might be teaching in year 9. So we're beginning with algebra, Pythagoras' theorem, and so on. And if I just take one out, for example, indices, chapter 5, you'll see there's 2 worksheets, 2 puzzle sheets, and 4 homework sheets. So a worksheet looks like this. So it's this is a specific type of worksheet. It's also called a startup assignment. And a startup assignment is actually an assignment you give at the beginning of a topic. So the topic is indices. And it's good to give out at the start of the topic because it revises all the important prerequisite skills you require for the topic. Part A is mixed revision, it's basic skills. And part B is revision of previous work on this topic to enable students to learn better for the new topic. And then part C is a challenge question for students who finish early or students who want more extension. So it's just a challenge question, not necessarily related to the topic, a puzzle for students to solve. Okay, yeah, so that's just explaining it a bit more. So startup assignments, revise skills from previous topics and prerequisites knowledge for the topic. Okay, so here's another worksheet. So this is just revising index laws. So this is more of your typical practice and review sheet. Oh, did you notice that there was some color coding of the questions as well? So most of the questions are green or blue for foundation and standard, but from time to time we will include a more complex question, which is red. These are puzzle sheets. This is a puzzle on scientific notation, and you've seen these sorts of sheets before where you join the dots and it spells out the answer to a riddle. So this is one of the puzzle sheets, and this is the other one. This is the crossword puzzle for indices. So we always put a crossword or a find a word puzzle at the end of each topic to reinforce the language of maths learned in the topic. So when we designed these workbooks, we did have a real focus on literacy and numeracy as well. So there's the literacy, the language of maths. Okay, now we come to the homework sheets. So this is the one of the 4 homework sheets in the indices topic. So again, you've got that color coding there, and it's also quite strategically divided into 4 sections, 4 parts. So part A is mental maths. Calculators not allowed, so students are revising their mental calculation skills. So that's part of the numeracy as well. Part B is review, so revision of the previous week's work in the topic. Part C is practice. So in this homework sheet this week, we're learning about significant figures and scientific notation. So it's practicing those skills. And then part D is on numeracy and literacy. And that's looking at the language of this topic. And it's also looking at applying the skills learned in this topic, applying it to problem solving or just an application of it. So things like you've got questions there like rounding the population of Sydney to 2 significant figures, or you've got questions like you have those closed passage type activities in question 3 where the students have to write the correct words, use the correct terminology. Okay, here is some more worksheets. This is from another topic. So this is from the geometry topic, find the unknown angle. And you'll find that one of our aims is to have systematic practice and revision of Australian curriculum mathematics 7 to 10. And you'll notice we've got these graphic novel characters. This is Miss Lee, the teacher, giving hints along the way and guiding the student, because we do imagine also that students are doing some of this work at home and with their parents. So this is sort of like a message to the student and the parent. Here's some more puzzle sheets. So this is substitution puzzle from the algebra topic and a Pythagoras' theorem, find a word. Okay, another homework sheet, this time from the probability chapter. So again, you can see the color coding and the 4 different types of questions being asked. And I forgot to mention, each part is worth 8 marks. So you've got 32 marks. So in effect, 32 questions. So it's not really that demanding on students. I actually gave one of these worksheets to my son who's in year 7 last night, and we worked through it together. And we were able to do it all in an hour. So one of the things when we designed these homework sheets were they're not meant to be too taxing on the student. in terms of the amount of effort, but they're also meant to cover a range of skills, not just the same skill over and over again. So my son last night, we did a decimals homework sheet, and we were able to revise different parts of the topic and also and discuss the different skills and strategies we could use. These are the answers at the back of the book. They are the homework answers. We have separated it out in case you or the parent want to tear out those pages, so that the students don't go to the back of the book to find the answers to the homework. So we have perforated those pages as well, but we'll leave it up to you to decide what to do with those pages. And even the answer pages are perforated, but I think it depends on the teacher or the class what you would do with those pages. Okay, now you may be wondering that why in 2020, in this digital learning environment, why would we publish workbooks? I mean, because I admit that this is something new for us as well. And we had to think and plan and consider whether it was worthwhile to publish a workbook, a printed student book. But the more we planned and designed and started writing the book, the more we found that it was actually quite a good idea to have just a printed book. So I know there's been a question asked in the chat whether we would supply PDFs of these homework or these workbooks, or whether we would supply a digital version of it online. No, these are standalone printed student books. Basically what you see is what you get. Okay, so why workbooks? I didn't come up with this list when I proposed this series. I came up with this list this year actually, because the more I thought about it, the more I realised workbooks still have a relevance in 2020. So fundamentally, it's for further practice and revision of maths learning. So it's a workbook for students to revise and practice their maths skills, what they learn at school, what they learn from their textbook or their online maths platform. But it also has the application, numeracy and literacy built into the workbooks. It's also a combined in-class and homework book. So we decided to go beyond just having a homework book, but we do have a homework program integrated into the book, and it's 40 weeks. And homework is still regarded highly by schools and parents. So we thought having a formal homework program would be a good idea. We also realised that students already use writing workbooks for maths in primary school. So having them in high school would not be such a big jump. I used to be a maths teacher, and I hated collecting their students' books and marking them, finding the time to do it, and having to collect the book on a Friday or during the week, and knowing I'd have to hand it back the next day. So teachers now can collect and mark the workbooks instead of their students' exercise books as part of the class or homework assessment. And not only that, the teacher is actually hand marking the book. It's not being evaluated, it's not being marked by a computer, and the results aren't being emailed to the student. The teacher can actually mark the work and hand it back to the student and provide face-to-face feedback, either in class, during the class, or even the parent could mark the work at home and give feedback back to their child. But it can be done. Like we feel that having a homework book that can be marked by a teacher or a parent and then handed back and then discussed with the child would be much better than doing it all on screen. And finally, our internet in Australia is not 100% reliable yet. So this is just another simple, economical, no-tech solution. So using workbooks works even when the school's network or Wi-Fi is down. Now, it is a shame that we didn't publish these books last year or earlier this year, because COVID-19 has shown us that some students and schools have limited or no internet access. So I heard reports of teachers actually delivering worksheets to students' houses, or students students arriving at the school to pick up printed worksheets or booklets. So it would have been great if we had these ready for the start of this year's to use during COVID-19. Some schools also do not use textbooks or do online learning only. So having a workbook that students can write in can also be a useful supplement or alternative. And it's also handy for setting classwork if the teacher's away, or if the class has been working very hard during the week and there's been too much new theory and you just need a catch-up lesson where you do revision. So setting work from the workbook would be also good that way. And the cost of these books is $15.95 each. So it works out to be cheaper and easier than finding and copying these worksheets on a photocopier, because you are getting like a 200-page book. And finally, as I said, I have a son who's in year 7. Working from a workbook at home actually makes the learning a bit more interactive between parent and child. It allows us parents to see exactly what maths their child is learning. When my 2 teenage kids work on a screen, I can't really see what they're learning. And sometimes with maths especially, it's only one question on the screen and then they do it and it goes to the next question. But with a workbook, I can see exactly what they're doing, what they're writing, and I can discuss the work that they're doing. I mean, not only maths, but any subject. It also helps students write down their maths rather than looking at or typing on a screen. And we all know that students learn better when they're handwriting. Okay. Okay, so it's important that you know that these are not textbooks. So they don't replace the textbook. And because of that, they don't cover everything in the syllabus either, but they do cover the core skills. So these workbooks supplement your school's main learning resource. So whether it's a textbook, online learning platform, or worksheet program, whatever is used in the class. They don't cover everything, but they do provide systematic practice and revision of core maths knowledge. So while the textbooks provide drill and practice of the same skill in their exercises, these workbooks will keep throwing mixed questions at students. So every couple of weeks in year 9, students will meet a Pythagoras' theorem question. They'll keep going back and looking at work from previous topics, and often that doesn't happen in the classroom because we're going from one topic to the other. Also, this is a national series based on the Australian curriculum upon which your state maths syllabus is based. So it doesn't cover anything that's additional content just specific to your state, if any. So you do have to take into account that some extra content that your state might teach in addition to the Australian curriculum, these workbooks will not cover. And finally, Nelson Maths 7 to 10 takes a holistic spiral curriculum approach. So knowledge and skills from past topics and years are continually being revisited. So for example, 24-hour time, you'll find that being revised in year 9, even though it's taught in year 7, because students will forget how to do these things. The whole point of these workbooks, or the philosophy behind these workbooks, is for students to keep seeing the core math skills being revised and revisited. Okay, so here's a table of contents of the 6 books. So this is workbook 1, year 7. And if you look down the list, you've got 12 topics, pretty much the sorts of things that you would be teaching in year 7. And then workbook 2 for year 8, I've put Pythagoras' theorem in red because because strictly speaking, it's not part of the Year 8 work. But I do know a lot of schools do like to teach Pythagoras' theorem in Year 8 because it's a nice practical topic, and it does show students pretty early what Pythagoras' theorem is, and Pythagoras' theorem is one of the most core skills that will be applied over and over for the rest of their high school career. So you've got 12 topics in Year 8 as well. And again, looking at those, they are pretty much your straightforward core topics. And there is a lot of repetition of, between Year 7 and 8, you can see the same kind of chapter names like ratio, rates and time, and probability, like fractions and percentages. But just keep in mind that in Year 8, fractions and percentages is not exactly the same topic as in Year 7. It's revision, and then it teaches more skills, such as the unitary method or percentage increase and decrease. Okay, these are the two workbooks, workbooks 3, Year 9 and Year 9 Advanced. So we've got 13 topics there, from algebra to congruent and similar figures. I've highlighted earning money in red because, strictly speaking, again, that's not an Australian curriculum topic, but it does involve things like percentages and rates. It's earning money is things like overtimes, wages and salaries, paying tax. So it's an application of number. So we've included that in. And then the advanced book, I've also highlighted, chapter 1 is products and factors. So that's things like harder expansions, algebraic expansion. So it's expanding binomial products, and it's also factorizing quadratic expressions, what's often taught in Year 10, but we've brought it into Year 9 because we know a lot of students are ready to do that in Year 9. And then topic 2, rather than just Pythagoras' theorem, we've included surds, an introduction to surds in Year 9. Again, a topic that's usually done in Year 10, but we've decided to introduce it in Year 9. Okay, and then when we get to Year 10, before that, there's a curriculum grid at the start of each book, each workbook. So this is the curriculum grid for the Year 9 book, book 3. So on the left-hand side, we've got those topics, and we've also listed underneath what's covered in each topic. And then on the right-hand side, we've got the Australian curriculum strand and substrand. And now when we get to Year 10, it starts to get more interesting because there is a lot more differentiation between the Year 10 book and the Year 10 advanced book, because we're starting to look towards senior maths as well. So as you can see, some of the topics are now geared towards senior maths. So the ones that are highlighted in red, the ones that are highlighted in blue are your typical Year 10 topics. So for example, in the first column there, you've got interest and depreciation, graphing lines, graphing curves, all the way up to geometry. And then you've got things like products and factors again. So you're starting to do those binomial expansions and quadratic equations, factorizing quadratic expressions. You've got surds, graphing the parabola, further trigonometry, so the sine and cosine rule, things like that. Surds. The advanced book contains logarithms, further trigonometry. What have we got there? Polynomials and circle geometry. So these are the 10A topics, which are leading towards your advanced senior maths courses, your calculus-based courses. So that's the table of contents there. These are our characters again. So we've got 3 characters. We've got Miss Lee, the teacher. We've got Zena, who's a maths tutor, but it's also Miss Lee's Year 12 student. And then we've also got Mitch, who's Zena's friend and also the school's star basketballer. So Miss Lee looks after the worksheets, Zena looks after the puzzle sheets, and Mitch looks after the homework assignments. Because he's such a good sports star, he's all into drill and practice. So he gives very positive coaching type messages to the students. I'll make you a maths athlete, a mathlete. Zena's the creative one who likes to do puzzles, whereas Miss Lee is the experienced maths teacher, the voice of reason, telling you why it's important to do the practice of skills and do the worksheets. So these graphic novel characters just they're introduced at the start of the book, but then they're on every page, just giving hints and helping students, or telling students why it's important to do each sheet. Okay, so we've got here, so just a reminder here about the colour coding according to the level of difficulty, but also that the fact that there's three types of sheets. Okay, so finally, why should you buy, why should you consider Nelson Maths Workbooks? Well, I am really encouraged by the pedagogy that has been planned or organised in these books. I've worked with a team of experienced teachers, and we've all worked on different parts of these workbooks. So one teacher does the worksheets, one does the puzzle sheets, one does the homework sheets. So it's rich and trusted pedagogy created by a team of experienced teachers. They've been using these worksheets in the classroom for over the past decade, since the Australian curriculum was published. So even before it has appeared in these workbooks, they have been used in the classroom. So they've been trialled and tested, and they've been used successfully. And finally, it supports maths teaching and learning at school and at home. Okay, so there's the 6 books up here again. So it's a tech-free solution that's handy for class assessment, relief classes, or catch-up lessons. Again, I've got this link to the website, Nelson Secondary, that will tell you more about it. But there's also a link to a sample chapters for some of the books that are about to be published. And you can also email me. But as I said, we will provide a link next week for you to download a recording of this webinar and as well as this PowerPoint. So I might now just pass over to Marguerite. If you've got questions, please continue to type them up in the chat, and we'll get to them if there's time left. So over to you, Marguerite.
Thanks, Robert. The Nelson Maths Workbooks are individually priced at $15.95. And if you're looking for a cost-effective English and Maths student pack, we've combined the new Nelson Maths Workbooks with our very popular 7 to 10 Go Grammar series to create literacy and numeracy packs for years 7 to 10. So each pack is only $32.95, a saving of $10 when you buy them together. So publishing of the workbooks will be staggered over the next few months, beginning with Workbook 3, which will be published and in the warehouse by the 3rd of September. Before that time, a preview of each workbook will be made available prior to publication. So if you don't already have your preview of Workbook 3, we can send that to you. Next slide.
Oh, sorry.
You can order your copies of the Nelson Maths Workbooks from the educational booksellers in your state, as well as any online retailers. So we are on hand to assist. So please contact us to see a preview of the workbooks, and we can provide the names of educational booksellers in your area. Each school has its own Cengage education consultant. So if you'd like to speak with them, please email us on ost.secondary@cengage.com with your contact details, including state and school, and we will contact you as soon as possible. If you know your consultant, please feel free to contact them directly. And the Nelson Maths Workbooks website landing page will be kept updated, so please make sure to visit for the latest information. Thanks, and now I think I'll be handing back to Simone for questions.
Yeah, so we've got a few questions, Robert, in the chat channel. So
Cool.
One regarding perforation of the worksheets.
Sure, okay, yes. So it's only the answers that are perforated. So all the worksheets themselves can't be torn out. They're just left in the book for students to work on. So we've only perforated the answers.
Thank you, Robert. And the next question is around the amount of space that there is for the students to write in. There is a question regarding, it doesn't look like there's enough space. Can you?
Yeah, that was an issue. It was a trade-off. So sometimes there isn't enough space to do all the working for the answers. So we had to be very, very economical because we only had 200 pages to work with for each book. We didn't want to have a very thick book. And the 200 pages included the answers. And we also didn't want the worksheets to go over many pages. So, so most of the time we have tried to provide enough lines for working out. But we also didn't want pages to have too many lines of just, too many blank lines as well, because that would take up too much space. So we try to balance it out. So sometimes students will need to write some of the working on a separate sheet of paper, or find some space on the workbook on the next page somewhere to do their working. And as I said, the reason why we did that was because we didn't want to sell a workbook that just had ruled lines as well, like lots of ruled lines. So we tried to provide maximum worksheets to be able to fit into a 200-page book. So I hope you understand where I'm coming from there.
Yeah, so what Gareth Smith has said, he likes a no-tech solution. There's enough tech and screen time for students. So well done, Robert.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, that wasn't our intention, but we just thought that while we were putting the book together, we thought, oh, we can picture kids working on the kitchen table or on the deck, doing their maths away from a laptop, away from the glare of a laptop, and just doing maths and writing maths with a pen, or with a pen and ruler and a calculator. Yeah.
Now, we're working really hard to get these out, so you can be assured Year 7, 8, 9 are all available this year. Unfortunately, Year 10, you'll have to wait for March and April 2021. What we'll be doing is next week, you will get an email, a certificate for your attendance today. And as soon as the books are published, you will get your free copy for attending tonight's webinar. You'll also get a copy of tonight's webinar that you'll be able to share with the staff at your school, and they can watch at their convenience. I would just like to thank Robert and Marguerite for their presentation tonight. And yeah, just feel free to reach out to all of us at Cengage, whether it's Robert or the sales team, with any questions you have, or if you would like to see the books or see page proofs or sample chapters, we can organise that for you. Thanks again for spending the night with us, and we'll look forward to seeing you again. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.